You're watching the 4-Wheel Drive Show, taking you off-road.
Welcome along, guys, to episode 3 of the 4-Wheel Drive Show. On this week's episode, guys, we have...
Well, we went up to Lancelin for the industry day out with all the local 4-wheel drive shops, and Rev shows you how to install a dual battery system.
And then our mad mate Macca here took his family up to the Kimberleys, and he's going to explain a bit more about it.
Yep, we headed up to the Kimberley. We went up via the inland route through Newman, across to Marble Bar, then up to Broome and around to Kununurra, down the Gibb River Road, up to Columbaroo, and then back down to Perth.
And they did that in a week.
No, I felt sorry for the kids, so we took 4.
Okay.
It took four kids.
4
weeks.
kids. But anyway, guys, let's go check out Macca's Kimberley trip.
Yep, we left our Molyneux and headed up the road, went through Kew, looked at the old corrugated iron building there, then travelled on up the road past Capricorn Roadhouse, had a look at all the big trucks that were parked up.
Place than home, well, supposing that it was. If heaven is in some future where that tomorrow's so unclear, then home for me, I guess, could better be nowhere else but here.
So this is base Mount Robinson, north of Newman.
Home for me, I guess, might never be nowhere else.
It's one of those little out of the way spots you can come and stop. It's 24-hour camping here. As you can see, someone's already here. I don't know if the video will pick it up, but there's a noise in the background. It's one of the many iron ore trains in the area. This is my wife standing here taking the video footage. I did think about leaving it, but then I'd have to look after the kids, so we didn't. But she got back in with us. We got up the top of Mount Robinson, had a good bit of a look around and took a lot of photos. The view from there along the Great Northern Highway is pretty good. It was a pretty overcast day while we were there, and it was very windy at the top. We're not really sure how high this mountain / hill is, but someone can maybe write into the 4-Wheel Drive Show and let us know.
Was all that toil and turmoil just to help me understand that heaven may be just a fancy name for some never, never, ever land where nothing ever really...
Somewhere off in the distance there is Mount Meharry, West Australia's highest peak.
Where it's all downhill to hell.
This is just on the main road, Main Great Northern Road. It's one of the nice little areas that you drive through. Up a bit further from Losky Roadhouse, we turned right and onto the Marble Bar Road.
Nowhere else but here, nowhere else but here.
And then a couple of days later, we ended up in Fitzroy Crossing. This is the Fitzroy Crossing River. There's not much water in there at the moment, but it was still worth a look. We drove around through Halls Creek and up to the Purnaloo National Park, commonly known as the Bungle Bungle.
There's campfire gleaming in this dear old land of ours, flipping idly through the pages of the tales of the
and had a bit of a wander through the gorges that they have there.
what with tomorrow so unclear, I guess maybe
Very pretty spot. It the drive-in is 4-wheel drive only, and camper trailers can get in, but you need to keep your speed very low. It's very windy and rocky. The tourist group that we're in with us had a little MP3 player, and they played this like the didgeridoo music in the background.
We are at the Pickaninny Lookout. If you see over there, you can see the holes in some of these big domes.
Righto, we're headed up to Ivanhoe Road crossing. We're at the moment going through the Ord River irrigation area. As you can see, there's a bit of lettuce growing around the place. One of their main crops up here now is sandalwood. And yeah, we've got a couple of days in Kununurra and we're having a blast. We've got the white box in front of us is our mate Nick. He's patrol, and we'll get a bit of a video with him later on.
My mate Nick decided to cross over first. He doesn't like water crossings, even though he lives in Kununurra. He would have actually preferred to go round, but we convinced him anyway, and we get to see things in the water. But it was all good. We made it across the other side. Mrs. didn't turn into croc food. It's a bonus. And then I had a crack across. It's good driving. See, it's a fair bit of water pushing across there. You can hear the noise of all the water rushing. I mean, I was sitting on 3-point-something or other tonnes, so I was heavy enough that it didn't move me huge amounts, but it was enough so that it you felt it. You wouldn't want to go much faster to get that speed. You just want just enough of a bow wave, push some of the water around you.
This is one of the bits where it's a little bit more corrugated. And then we're about to come onto another smooth bit. Okay, we're on the Colombo Road, north of Mitchell Falls turn off. It's about as smooth as a billiard table. Kimberley billiard table, that is. A few little creek crossings. We've got the Castle River coming up, which we're hoping might have a bit of water for a bit of excitement. Weather's turned pretty good for us. We've now got blue sky. We've been going pretty good, really. Seen some interesting things on the road. Lots of cows, a few horses, snakes, some dingoes. It's just all good. Everyone should get out here.
Hi guys, we are now at Honeymoon Pool, north of Colombo. This is one of the areas that you can camp.
We think, which is sort of as far as we've been able to go north. And we've come across this shitload of oysters. And what have you enjoyed about here the most?
Well, you get to fish and you get to camp and you get to four-wheel drive around here. Woohoo!
There we go, Grizzly. There's your next project, buddy. Knock yourself out. Mind you, it doesn't have a head at the moment. Or a seat.
Well, anyway, it looks like Macca had an absolute ball of a time up there.
He did, and little Taylor did a great job in front of the camera.
Didn't she just say? I think she's a butt at that one. Little Bindi Irwin.
On the way.
All the way, all the way.
Well, anyway, guys, coming up next we have good old mate Rev. He does his battery installation. So let's go have a look at that.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Well, today we're going to install a REDARC smart solenoid system into the old bus here. I'm going to be running a winch. I've got a fridge, spotties, all that sort of stuff. So if you want to run all that sort of stuff, you really need a second battery system. That way you're not draining your main cranking battery. Over here we've got all our bits and pieces. Quite a simple job realistically, but if you're not comfortable with this sort of stuff, either go to an auto electrician or get your local four-wheel drive shop to do it all. Alright, basic gear you need for this sort of a job. Earth strap, most important. We got our battery clamps. I grabbed 3 meters. You probably don't need 3 meters for most cars, but this is 3 meters of high tension lead for the power. Terminals for the high tension leads. Definitely need a battery clamp. Or your little clamps for things like your spotlights and your CB and all that sort of stuff that you're going to be hooking onto the new battery system. Always have a battery cleaner for your terminals and for your posts. Then we've got the REDARC solenoid, which is very tiny and very basic to fit. Your wire strippers, obviously for stripping all your wire. Have to have a multimeter. You can't go without one, especially if you're playing with electronics. Then we've got the battery. Since I've already got a deep cycle battery in the vehicle, I'm actually making that my secondary battery, and I'm putting an N70ZZ as my main cranking battery. Down in the corner there I've put my battery tray. That's where my battery will be going. Most of the modern cars these days don't have the room under the bonnet for a second battery. So you are able to put them in the back of the vehicle, but make sure they go into a battery box. It is illegal in this state, as far as I'm aware, that if you don't have a battery box, you can't have a battery loose in the back. First of all, as you can see, I've already started putting in my battery tray, so I'm going to finish that off and we'll come back to you in just a minute. 30 mil, so if I go 30 and 30, that's 60, that's 175 all up. Well, as you can see, now we've got the battery all in and clamped up, ready to rock and roll. Next step is to fit the smart solenoid. Got to find a decent location for it, and for me, I'm actually going to put it right there, just like that. That way I can see the LED working and everything's in good location. All I'm doing here, as you can see, is I'm mounting the earth for the smart solenoid. Just making sure it's got a nice clean surface. As you can see, I've scraped the paint away on the metal, so it's nice bare metal. It'll give it a good surface. Later on I'll throw a little coat of paint on top of it. As you can see, there's a little blue wire on here. That's for an override switch. Basically all it does is it goes back into the driver's compartment. Have a little push button there. When you push the button, it takes the power from this battery and puts it to that battery, just in case that one is too low, and it'll just give it that extra boost. There we go. They're the terminals you use. As you can see, quite simple to cut the cable and put them on. Next, you just got to, with a pin punch or a chisel, just put a little indentation into it, as we'll show you in a second, and that'll hold them together. Now, before we go putting the power lead on, more important to put the earth lead on so it's got something to earth out on, otherwise we could arc out some more stuff that we don't want to. So we'll fit that next, and then we'll put the power lead on, and Bob should be just about your uncle. Okay, one of the things you want to make sure when you're hooking these cables up is, firstly, it's not rubbing on anything. If that's going to rub on anything, it's eventually going to short out and burn out the wiring system. So we're trying to keep it as safe as possible, keep it away from the bodywork. When we run the other lead around the other side there, we'll actually strap that on so it doesn't rub. Well, as you can see, the red light's on, it's working properly. So all up about an hour to do the whole job. But yeah, if you want any more information on it, check out our website at the4WDShow.com.au, and we'll have a little write up there on how to go about it. Thank you.